Hey, this is Pastor Kent and Addict with you. Today is and it's my birthday. And I'm 53. Actually, I'm only 35, but I don't tell anybody that. Yeah. Trusting a sponsor. Is it worth the risk? In seeking a sponsor, most members look for someone they feel they can learn to trust. Sometimes who seems compassionate. IP number 11. I recommend you read this. It's very informative on what a sponsor is all about. The idea of sponsor may be new to us. We have spent our lives and years without direction, blindly going with the blinders on, running into walls and clotheslines and clotheslining ourselves and, running like a fool with a chicken like a head cut off. Relying only on self-interest, suspecting recovery. We need help. We can do it alone anymore. We must take the risk for trusting another human being. Often, the first person we take that risk with is our sponsor. Someone we respect, someone we identify with, someone we have reason to trust. As we open up our sponsor to our sponsor, a bond develops between us. We describe our secrets and develop confidence in our sponsor's direction. We share our conscience and learn to value our sponsor's experience. We have shared on pain and meant the empathy. We just got to know one another, accept one another, love one another. The more we trust our sponsor, the more we will trust to ourselves. Trust happens. Trust helps us more away from life of fear. Confusion, suspicion, and identification. In the beginning, it feels risky to trust another addict. But that trust in the beginning, it feels risky to trust another addict. But that trust is some principle we apply to our relationship with God. Risk or not, our experiences tells us we cannot do without it. And the more we take the risk of trusting our sponsor, the more open we feel about our lives. I want to grow and change. I will risk trusting my sponsor and find the rewards of sharing. You know, one of the best books that I ever read was this book right here. It's called Sponsorship. You can get it from na.org. And I'm going to read a little bit in this. What is a sponsor? A corner store of the Narcotics Anonymous program. No single philosophy or belief adaptivity describes or defines what a sponsor is or what a sponsor does. Over the years, sponsors has an important and basic tool for the NA program. As in many ways, the sponsor relationship for many members is a personal and private. An NA sponsor is an experienced member of Narcotics Anonymous to whom we turn for advice with our problem of recovery. Many members believe that sponsorship is a vital part of the recovery process. Along with the 12 steps and 12 traditions, sponsorship is considered one of the cornerstones of the program. The NA way of recovery, the therapeutic value of one addict helping another, amplified in a relationship with one and another NA member. Before arriving at the doors of NA, most of us had been living on the edge of humanity. Not me, I lived on the edge of insanity, man. I loved it. Moving deeper and deeper into fear, isolation, and depression. We wanted to find another way to live, but the solution seemed to be elude us. Once we began attending meetings and learned about the Narcotics Anonymous program, our start to change, and we realize the importance of seeking support. I say this all the time. An addict in his own mind, their own mind, is a dangerous place to be. As an addict, we can talk ourselves into anything. Just listen to the idiot tapes. Listen to that over and over again. You know, one of the things we have to realize is that when we first come into the program, we're not healthy. We're not relationship oriented, relationship minded. We are self-centered, egotistical, maniacal, jackasses. My way or the highway. Do it my way. I'm right, you're wrong. So wrong. And see, this is where a sponsor comes in. Because the sponsor can say, do you think that's right? Are you okay with that? Or they can make you see that what you're doing is a silly thing. You know, they can also help you realize when you're in relapse mode and in self-destruct mode. Now there's a couple of different types of relapse. There's emotional relapse, there's psychological relapse, and then there's the actual manifestation of the act of addiction. So there's steps you go through. And if you have a proper sponsor, you know, it's my opinion, you know, of this humble addict, that it should be with somebody with some more time than you. You know, so if I got X amount of years or X amount of months, you know, I want somebody with some clean time in. But I need somebody that's close to where I am. You see, some people at decades in this program can remember back to the time that they walked into the meeting. I still remember my first meeting. Some people can't. They don't want to, or they want to forget it. Or, you know, I will never forget the way I felt at that first meeting. You know, I felt out of place. This man that was sharing his story was telling my life, and I'm thinking there in awe, my tongue hanging out, my eyes bulging out, and I'm thinking to myself, how do you know this? You're talking about me. Why are you talking about me? You're supposed to be talking about you. He was. But our stories are very similar in the types of substances we used. So it was very close. So right away we had a connection. And I was in a meeting. He said something and it really upset me. I went home. I was furious, man. I was pissed right off. I was madder than a wet hen. You know, I went home and I hemmed and I hawed and I stewed and I growled and I chewed and I did some more growling and chewing. I realized this is talking about me. I have the character defect, not him. He fixed it. So, very next time I seen that man, I asked that man to be my sponsor. And that was the best decision I ever made. Because that man, I'm telling you, I called him sometimes on the hour, you know, constantly bombarded him with phone calls. He never once, not once did he ever say, I don't have the time for you. He always took a few minutes. Now, he was a busy person. Well, but he took that time. And whether it's a minute or whether it's 2 minutes or whether it's 5 minutes or it's an hour, it doesn't matter. He took the time to talk to me. That's what's important as a sponsor. Now, as a sponsor, yeah, I recommend that you first do your steps and you do your traditions. Then that you've got a knowledge of Narcotics Anonymous, you can take on sponsees and help them without being sick yourself. If you need psychiatry or psychology or therapy or prescription medications, go get it. Get you right before you can help others, because you don't want to be taking your sick, addictive behaviors into that relationship, because not only are you making yourself sick, but you're making them sick too, and that's not fair to them. So if you're going to take on sponsees, I suggest you have a clean mind yourself, and make sure your doorstep's cleaned up first. And you better be doing your steps as well. Today, I have decades, and I still do a 10, 11, and 12 every day. I try to remember to do that. Sometimes my old brain forgets. I'll get sitting there and I'll be thinking, gee, my day's really going rotten, and oh yeah, I know why. So that least little thing, for an addict to put something out of place is chaotic. Okay, this can't happen. It doesn't work. Why is it not working? It's not going my way. What's the matter? I can't handle this. Why? Why? And this is where a sponsor comes in and says, whoa, Kent boy, hang on here. You're putting the cart before the horse, Don't do that. Don't get all freakity dickety, wickety duckety in your own head. Because you can't help those if you're sick yourself. Get yourself right. Get rid of your baggage. Then by all means, if you want to do 12-step work, absolutely. It's part of the program. Feel free to join us on Blog Talk, on Saturdays for addiction. May God bless and keep you.